Slow motion, a powerful tool? Or just simply a crutch? Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of cinematic slow motion. Slow motion is a powerful tool that can add drama, emotion, and visual impact to your videos. Whether you're shooting a short film, a vlog, or even a music video, understanding how you can use slow motion may take your visuals to the next level. So let's jump in and explore some techniques with the aim to create stunning slow motion shots. Before we begin, let's talk about the importance of choosing the right camera for the right reasons. While many modern cameras do offer a slow motion setting, some certainly do the job better than others. For the examples in this video, I'm going to be using either the Sony a7 III, which can record 120 frames per second up to 1080p, and the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, which can record 4K at up to 60 frames per second, or 1080p at up to 120 frames per second. The higher the frame rate, the slower the motion will be. Now let's move on to the first tip. Tip 1, capture high quality footage. As obvious as it sounds. To achieve the best slow motion results, start with high quality footage, shot at the highest resolution and quality settings. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I used to get caught out with my Sony a7 III. This is a camera that offers two different settings for two different amounts of megabytes that you want to record in. And yes, that does make a big difference in post. This will give you more flexibility in post-production and ensure that your slow motion footage looks stunning. Tip 2, plan your shots and movements. When shooting slow motion, it's essential to plan your shots and movements beforehand. Whilst slow motion can really smooth out a lot of inconsistencies in your handheld work, for example, it can also amplify a lot of the aspects of whatever it is that you're shooting. A common side effect of shooting slow motion is that it can give your subjects scale, hence why old shows like the Thunderbirds and Red Dwarf shot their miniature work in slow motion. Tip 3, lighting and exposure. Proper lighting and exposure is critical for slow motion photography. Pay attention to the lighting conditions and make the necessary adjustments to achieve a well-exposed image. In terms of camera settings, I would maintain a 180-degree shutter. So if you're shooting in 120 frames per second, you'll want to use a shutter speed of 1/240. This keeps the shutter open for half of the duration in between each frame, thus giving us motion blur that is on par with pretty much every film that you've ever seen. And because of that, we're conditioned to see that level of motion blur as looking natural. Be aware that with a higher shutter speed, you will also need more light. Tip 4, use a stable support system. As I mentioned before, slow motion can help iron out any kind of inconsistencies in your handheld work. It's still a good idea to use a stable support system, whether that be shooting on sticks or using some kind of stabilization device like a gimbal or Steadicam. This becomes particularly apparent when the subject that you're shooting moves pretty fast, and you'd be surprised at how slow the human reaction time is when it comes to shooting fast moving objects, especially when you see your own reaction time in slow motion. Tip 5, timing and practice. Timing is everything when it comes to slow motion shots. Consider the emotional impact that you want to convey and synchronize your shots accordingly. Tip number 6, frame rate and time remapping. Once you've captured your footage, it's time to bring it into the editing room. Now, if you want to, you can adjust the speed of your slow motion, but just be aware that you may get some frame skipping and that the motion blur may not look all that natural. If your camera does not output the files as slow motion files. So if you shoot in 120 frames per second and it gives you that file in 120 frames per second, you can simply modify the footage. Right click on your clip, select modify, interpret footage, and type in your new frame rate. Here I'm using 25 frames per second. If you want to, you can do some time remapping so that your shots start out at normal speed and then transition into your slow motion. Tip 7, smooth transitions and sound design. By transitions here, I'm talking about the transition between your regular pace footage and your slow-mo footage. Ensure that these blend together naturally. Additionally, don't forget the impact of sound design. Enhance your slow motion footage with the appropriate sound design to create a truly immersive experience for your audience. So let's talk about our final point, which is why. Why slow motion in the first place? Why do you want to use it? And how is the use of slow motion motivated by the story that you want to tell? Perhaps you want to demonstrate the speed in which your subject moves. Perhaps a beloved character is dying, or maybe it's being used for comedic effect. Whatever the reason, make sure that your use of slow motion is motivated by your storytelling. As it's Roger Deakins who said, people confuse pretty with good cinematography. And there you have it. Slow motion photography, just like anything, it's practice makes perfect. So go out there, give it a go, and let me know how you get on. Also, leave a comment below if you have any questions. Hello everybody, how's it going? If you like this video, then don't forget to give it a like. It really does help to beat the YouTube algorithm. If you're new to the channel, then make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay updated with all of the content being released on this channel. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.